Okay guys, this isn't going to be your normal Metabones Speedbooster comparison where we zoom in and look at the corners and compare all the weird scientific jargon. This is more about the importance of using different speed boosters in conjunction with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K when specifically shooting in 4K DCI. If you're shooting at that highest resolution, you are going to get a 1.9 crop. And we're going to look at the different narrower field of view of a run-of-the-mill dummy adapter, a Metabones XL, which is on the camera right now, or a Metabones Ultra, which is the CineLock version. And we're going to be looking at just the different ways, little slight differences of exposure from the Ultra to the XL, as well as the difference in the wider field of view, but more importantly, the amazing benefits of a speed booster with the CineLock mount. So if you're into that, let's go. And the lens of choice is this contact Zeiss 50mm MMJ f1.4. Okay, so here's some really crappy handheld shots. I say crappy because this is on the fly. We were in a little bit of a hurry, and as it is in LA, always shooting illegally. Since my little handheld test was so shoddy, I will admit that. Here is one that I'll do here in my little studio, okay? What we're looking through right here is a native micro 4/3 lens, an SLR Magic Hyper Prime 25mm. This one is made available to us courtesy of our good friend Chris Ratchford, okay? Gotta get those lenses back in the mail to you soon, my friend. We are looking essentially at a 48mm full frame equivalent, right? Okay, so now, because we're in a controlled environment, I'm not going to move the tripod or the camera. I'm literally just going to swap out that SLR Magic with this 50mm Zeiss on the KNF Concept dummy adapter, and we can see the difference there, okay? Okay, so now I have taken the SLR Magic off of the Pocket 4K, and now we're super punched in. We're looking down the barrel of the 50mm Zeiss on the dummy adapter. This is essentially the full frame equivalent of a 95mm lens. Also, I want us to take note of the difference in exposures. All of these are on 2.8, and that is because you know, I'm exposing for f2.8 here. So my SLR Magic was at a 2.8. Now this Zeiss on the dummy adapter is a 2.8. We're just looking at differences of exposures on top of the narrower field of views, okay? And now we are looking down the barrel of the Zeiss through the Metabones Ultra CineLock. And now you'll see we're getting a nice little bit of a wider field of view, not so quite just ultra close up on my face with the dummy adapter. And yeah. And notice the difference in exposure, still at the 2.8 setting on the lens. And now here we are with the Metabones XL. This is essentially looking down the barrel of a 61mm full frame. So that's pretty dang close, getting us to the true 50mm look of this Zeiss 1.4. We're still at a 2.8, and you'll notice just a little bit more slight change in exposure even still from the Metabones XL to the Ultra. So not only are you getting a wider field of view with the XL, but you're also getting that little tiny bit of extra little tiny stop of light, right? I don't want to get too caught up in that, but just hopping over to metabones.com, and because a lot of people want to argue against whether it is giving you an extra stop of light or not. Whereas with the XL, you're actually getting more like a stop and a third or something like that more versus the Ultra. What I really want to talk about with these speed boosters is the fact that the normal speed booster has a little bit of some downsides. Now, Metabones support foot, right? It's like 15 or 20 bucks, and you attach it to the bottom of the cage, and it just works out perfect where the little Metabones foot can now screw into that support foot that SmallRig has, and that essentially locks in the speed booster to your camera, making it form like one, like an amoeba, I guess, if you will. And that takes away all the play between the speed booster and the camera. The problem now is the play that you have between the speed booster and the lens itself. And here you'll see in this example, you can see how much it's wiggling. And I may even be able to do it here for you as well. So I'm going to take this lens, I'm going to put it onto this Metabones XL. I mean, you can even hear it. You know what I mean? there's definitely wiggle going on here. And I noticed it when shooting the feature film. The whole reason why I upgraded to the XL was because I wanted to get as close to that full frame look as I could. Because when shooting on the XL in 4K DCI on the Pocket 4K, your crop becomes a 1.2. That's awesome. That is like literally 0.2 away from being a true 35mm full frame look, right? I wanted to fully embrace what these old full frame Zeiss lenses had to offer, right? The only downside was I was definitely noticing the wiggle between the lenses and the Metabones XL. And it didn't matter, even though that foot was attached, there was still wiggle going on between the lens and the Metabones. And as you'll see here in this little test where I did it in the studio here, the studio test, racking from the mannequin head to the back wall there, you'll notice there's some slight little horizontal shifts. Now, if you can ignore the focus breathing, because these are old SLR photography lenses, right? Zeiss made these lenses in the 70s for film photography. So there is some breathing going on there, but what we're really looking at, if you'll notice at the top and bottom of the screen, there is a little, you can really notice the wiggle. Those very slight horizontal shifts that you're seeing at the top and bottom is because of that little bit of wiggle, that little tiny bit of play between the lens and the Speedbooster itself. And holy cannoli, that is a big bummer. And it doesn't matter, even though that the Speedbooster is locked completely to the cage, but what's not solid is that little connection. And that is what brought me to the CineLock. Now, what you have essentially is Metabones was making it available to Canon EF users, something more aligned to the Hollywood standard known as PL mount, right? So now you can take your lens and you can attach it in here. You just set it in and switch over and lock that bad boy in. Yeah, there is no wiggle going on between this lens and the Speedbooster. The CineLock is amazing. And here is that same test in the studio with the mannequin head racking from the mannequin's head to that back wall. Obviously there is breathing going on, but those little tiny baby horizontal shifts are no longer apparent. So yeah, my only regret is that I didn't get this CineLock in the XL. The reason why I had to drop down to the Ultra is because I own a few APS-C lenses for my corporate work, right? The Sigma lenses are great for corporate work because they're very clinical, they're very boring, they don't have a whole lot of character, but they're super sharp, they do well with colors, and that's why they're more accepted into that corporate world, right? Plus, they are great for dock work because they're zoom lenses with constant aperture. The problem is they are APS-C lenses. And when you throw those Sigma APS-C lenses onto the XL Speedbooster, you are going to see vignetting in the corners, lots of weird shadow stuff going on. And even when you zoom in past, like say past the 20mm range, there's still some weird darkness going on, and it is primarily because that is an APS-C lens. And the reason is the APS-C lenses, as you'll notice now when using it with the Metabones Ultra Speedbooster, all those dark corners are completely gone. Okay, so for now we're gonna sign off with that. I hope that was helpful to any of you trying to decide between the XL or the Ultra. Again, if you only have full frame lenses, I would say get that XL. Be sure you just shell out the extra $100 or $2 more for the CineLock. It's going to be well worth it. And plus it's just that more of a professional kind of mount. But if you have a collection of APS-C and full frame, then just get the Ultra. And again, get the CineLock, okay? And it's always good to have a good little dummy adapter in your kit for if you just need that extra little longer reach, you know? So keep that in mind as well. You can see there where we made that 50mm, we turned it into a 95mm. But to each their own. As always, thanks for watching. And for now, that is a wrap.